Hello, is this Mojo Nixon?
This is Mojo.
Mojo, how you doing? This is Dustin Wellness from KMSU Radio.
Right, yeah, we're supposed to do some kind of interview or something, right?
Yeah, do you have time today?
I'm ready to go.
Awesome. I'm here with my co-host, Ton.
Hey, man, how you doing?
Hey, man, where y'all at?
We're in Minnesota.
Minnesota?
It's hot and humid here. It's ridiculous.
Where at in Minnesota?
In a town called Mankato. It's probably about an hour south of Minneapolis.
South of Minneapolis.
Yep.
Is that near Northfield, where they had the bank raid?
Well, sorta.
Yeah.
Sorta.
Sorta. Yeah.
we had nothing to do with that, though.
Yeah,
but
Y'all weren't around then?
No, we didn't.
Y'all didn't do that. It's good to hear.
We didn't have nothing to do with that. I don't know what you're talking about. I can say that your little answer machine business there was pretty awesome. You kind of sound pissed.
Well, I had another one. I had the same one for like 10 years, and everybody got tired of it, so I made a new one that sounded more angry,
I like it.
Because I don't want, people call me, and they said, like, well, you never answer. I said, no, you got to leave a message. You leave a message, and maybe I'll call you back. That's the Mojo way. And don't send me no text, because somebody sent me a text once. I didn't get it for 6 months later. I didn't know how to get them. They were just sitting in my phone, kind of like stewing or, ruminating.
That's awesome.
I had to get my son to show me how to do it.
Love it. Well, we're ready to go if you are.
I'm ready to go.
Well, let's just start by asking you, how did you get started in music? What kind of sparked that thing? What kind of influences did you have?
Well, I realized at some point when I was around 20 that I didn't want to be a lawyer. My parents wanted me to go to law school because I was a good bullshit artist. And I realized I wanted to be a musician. I love music. I loved rock and roll. I loved Led Zeppelin, and I loved Sam and Dave, and I loved Elvis. And I wanted to be a musician, though I didn't really have any natural musical talent. Some people are naturally, they can pick up an instrument and figure it out. And, I didn't have much musical talent, but I had a lot of bullshit talent. And, and I decided, I should just do what I want to do. I was talking to somebody about this the other day. My original idea was to try to somehow combine John Lee Hooker, Woody Guthrie, Richard Pryor, Hunter Thompson, and Lou Reed into some kind of, a crazy American stew. And what I realized, because I'd been in bands, I'd been in like cover bands, and when I was in, I started playing guitar and I started writing songs, and I was in bands, just playing like Stones and classic rock kind of stuff, Bad Company and Aerosmith, and I realized I shouldn't try to be Bruce Springsteen. I shouldn't imitate Bruce Springsteen. I shouldn't imitate Mick Jagger. I shouldn't imitate Joe Strummer. I should just do what I do best, which is get a little hillbilly boogie woogie going, and then just start talking some shit over top of it.
Yeah, that's a
Excellent.
good plan.
Well, tell us a little bit about your relationship with Skip Roper. You guys did a lot of stuff early on. How did that come about?
He was a guy. He had a surf band. There was a little back in the early '80s in Southern California. There was a band called the Surf Punks, and there was a bunch of kind of a surf revival. And he had one of those called the Evasions. And he was hanging around the same scene. He was in Country Dick and the Snuggle Bunnies, which is a thing that was before the Beat Farmers.
Okay.
And he had this washboard, and when he usually played mandolin, and occasionally he'd play a washboard on a stick when the mandolin didn't fit in with the song. And so I originally approached him, well, let's form some kind of crazy duo. Now, I hadn't seen the Flat Duo Jets or other duos, but that was I wanted him to play a snare drum. He said, well, no, I got this washboard on a stick. Why don't I play that? And I just found out me and Skid are going to play together for the first time in 22 years. Let me see if I got the date here. September 30th in San Diego at the Adams Avenue Street Fair.
Wow.
And hopefully we'll remember how to play. And it worked out good. Me and Skid had a good, it was a lot cheaper to just have two people on the road. And we were able to do a lot of things. We got to open for the Pogues because they had 8 people and they didn't want to move their stuff. Well, guess what? We could set up in front of them. Plus we were splitting the money 2 ways or 3 ways with Bullethead, our manager. Other bands were splitting it 9, 10 ways. So it worked good. It worked good to do the duo for a while. After a while, I wanted to do the band, and he didn't want to. And so that led to the split.
Well, in those early days, did the crowds take to you guys right away, just being the duo?
Well, you
up
know,
there?
crowd would be an overstatement. I remember once we used to bet on those first couple of tours how many people. Once the over/under was 17, whether or not there'd be 17 paid in Muncie, Indiana, and there was only 14 paid. And there was a lot of shows like that, especially, you know, look, it's easy to be, if you play San Francisco on a Friday night, it's easy to draw a crowd. It's Tuesday night in Muncie, or, you know, Wednesday night in Des Moines, or whatever fucking town y'all are in, you know, Minnesota, you know, on Sunday night. Oh, that's the death. Yeah, so no, there weren't very many people at first, and I remember we played once in Austin, you know, which is a music, everybody there was in a band. There was 14 people there, and 13 of them were in a band. The other guy was a doorman, you know. And this is in 85, 86, and then and it was also just dudes. It was just a sausage fest. It's some kind of Hemingway-esque homoerotic man love thing. But eventually, with Elvis Is Everywhere, we got a lot more publicity. And the girls started coming. Eventually, girls would come to drive their drunk boyfriends home. You know, girls would make a deal. Look, I'll take you to Mojo, but you got to go see some Jodie Foster movie with me. You know, that was part of the Mojo deal.
Well, were you guys surprised when Elvis Is Everywhere kind of became a success then?
Well, yeah, and it got played on a lot of like morning shows, you know, morning comedy FM radio shows, you know, where a lot of those kind of shows played it, and you know. And I knew it was going to. I knew there was some. You know, I mean, I wrote the song because I could feel some Elvis vibration. This is 10 years after his death, and you know, everywhere you went, people had little shrines to Elvis and these books about Elvis. And Elvis is, you know, people are talking about they see him at the Burger King and all this stuff. So I just tapped into the cosmic hillbilly subconscious, and the song is kind of simultaneously a celebration of Elvis and a poke fun at how crazy his fans are, of which I'm one. So. And let me just tell you something. If you ever go to Memphis to the Elvis Museum, don't take psychedelic mushrooms. Because I had like a psychotic break and started crying. It's when I saw Elvis's go-kart. It's what set me off.
His go-kart. Oh, that's
In
awesome.
fact, I got a picture right here. Elvis, he had a go-kart, and he would ride it up and down the driveway. You know, there's like, you know, he's got like a little bit of grounds there at Graceland, and he'd go up and down the driveway and, you know, maybe shoot out in the street every now and then.
That was a breaking point.
Well, you've written a lot of songs about other musicians too, you know, like Debbie Gibson or Don Henley. Do any of those people ever get pissed, or do you ever hear back from them about that?
Don Henley was just in some article. It was in like a Reno paper. I don't have it here in front of me, but he was, you know, he was like, "Oh, it's no big deal," you know. And he said he listens to me, or he said he listens to me on Outlaw Country, and thinks I'm funny. So this is, you know, this kind of took me by surprise. But, you know, Don Henley got up and sang Don Henley Must Die with us at the Hole in the Wall in Austin. And in fact, and Debbie Gibson was on the radio show I was on in Cincinnati. The one who I haven't met is Martha Quinn. And in fact, she works at Sirius XM and lives up in Los Angeles. But apparently she don't want to meet Mojo, because I've sent feelers. And her husband is some big TV producer or something. And I've sent feelers, and, you know, people, you know, mutual friends, and these feelers come back dead. So,
Oh.
But when Mojo and Skid, because I hadn't played that song in forever, but I'm sure at the big Mojo Skid reunion, Stuff in Martha's Muffin that'll be one of the big highlights. I'm still, you know, and I used to wear, like, I had this hollowed out TV set I wore on my head during that song, and I'm still trying. I got to find one of those.
Oh man. Well, how did you end up making the transition kind of from music into acting? Because you end up doing quite a bit of acting, didn't you?
Yeah, I did some acting, but, you know, here's the thing. I'm not a very good actor. Acting is a very precise, especially movie acting, is a very precise art, and I'm a live entertainer. I like to do it real loud once, and that's be done. Acting, they want you to do the same exact thing over and over. I really can't act. I could only be me. You know, I thought I wanted to act, but I really don't. You know, the money's great. You know, there's more money spent on catering on a movie than there is a whole album budget. but you know, it's just not for me. You know, I do best with a live audience, and I can yell the word motherfucker. That's, you know. And, you know, and acting is, yeah, right. Acting, all anyone told me was tone it down, less. Well, then there's nothing. You're not getting the Mojo. You're paying for Mojo. You know.
Well, we got to say one of our favorite films would probably be Buttcrack.
Buttcrack the movie.
Yeah.
Look, it sounds funny, right? Mojo Nixon in a movie called Buttcrack. It's like a trauma film. It's got to be funny. Buttcrack the movie will suck. After watching about a half hour, you start wondering, well, should I continue breathing or just kill myself right fucking now? Right, because I was hoping it'd be so bad it's good. Oh, it's just bad. It's just bad.
Wait a minute now. Is this the same thing that happened with the Super Mario Brothers film? You were
that movie was a giant mess. Though I was in when I showed up on that movie, the directors, his husband and wife team that did Max Headroom, they were sitting at a picnic table at dawn crying. I'm like, well, this can't be good. But I was in the scene with Dennis Hopper, and that made it all worthwhile.
Yep.
And so it's like Pacino, De Niro, Brando, Mojo. That's the way you got to look at it. Right, because Dennis Hopper's in, he's in Rebels Out of Call with James Dean. That's only 1 degree of separation.
Yep. There you go.
So are you telling us maybe the possibility of a Buttcrack sequel is not in the works?
God, in Buttcrack, at one point, they gave me money, I guess, not to film any other Buttcrackian type movies. I forgot what it was called, but it was, it was like, hey, we can't make the movie this summer, but we're going to pay you to keep you on retainer for next year.
Wow.
I just thought this must just be drug buying money. That's what this is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, no, and I haven't done anything lately, and look, I'm not any good at it. Is the problem. I'm not. Some people are good at acting, and you're right. If you need me to be over the top for 5 minutes, that's no problem. I got that. But if you want me to to do subtly show some emotion, you're barking up the wrong tree.
So then, how did you ended up at obviously retiring from music at one point, and you stopped acting. How did you come to all of that, like actually deciding to do that?
Well, I made the last record we made, Sacre Blue. That's about as good a record as we can make. Nobody gave a shit, so why should I already made 10 records, wrote like 120, 150 songs. Isn't that enough?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Plus I got this opportunity to do the radio, and I think, right, because otherwise, see, I'd be out there, I'd be doing the Mojo solo show, folk, house concert, and then me and Skid would have a reunion, and then me and the Toad Lickers, and then there would also be some kind of super group of, post-Pleasure Barons, Don't You Wish Country Dick Was Here show. I'd have to be doing all that because I needed the money. But now I got this radio job. I don't have to play. I only play when I want to play. Like, a couple months ago, I played in Denver. Tim Tebow is a liar tour. Mojo comes out of retirement to set Tim Tebow straight. There is no God, and Jesus ain't coming back. And Tim Tebow, he heard about this and left Denver. Yeah, he's a fucking pussy is what he is.
Takes off. Well, what made you decide to try to come back with the music stuff?
Well, we're just playing every now and then, only like we played 2 years ago. The piano player's wife ran off. Piano player's wife left him, so Mojo Nixon and the Toad Lickers reunite to get the piano player laid. It took 3 shows, but we did it.
Yes.
The fact he looked a little bit like Mo Sleasack was hurting us,
Oh.
But hell, he already knows we call him that. And so we play at South by Southwest, and I'm going to do this. Me and Skid hadn't played in 22 years, so that'll be fun. And plus I'm getting old. I used to sit down when I played with Skid, so I can sit down. I got to do all that standing up.
Well, do you think maybe another album or other projects might come out of this reunion?
Maybe. I have ideas and stuff, but like most songwriters, I'm really just writing the same 4 songs over and over, and I'm not sure that the record industry and everything is all in a state of transition, and I'm just not sure anybody would pay to make a record. There's not one burning. I get it out by doing Lying Cocksuckers and Outlaw Country and doing the NASCAR show. I get everything out that I need to say, so it's not like it's building up in me and I got this giant thing I got to spew out.
Right. And are you continuing to offer a lot of your stuff for free? I know you.
Oh, we just did that. It was like a one-time,
Yeah.
for a month only. But we had over 1.5 million, separate downloads.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those were just people looking for something for free. But, some of them had to be Mojo fans.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We did that at Amazon. And, and people still download it, still download the stuff. And, I'm into some book called Cult Artist. And I'm right between, who is it I'm right between? The New York Dolls and NRBQ. And they're both a lot bigger and better than me. But as a cult artist, my job is to make the cult happy.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome, man. Well, you got the radio show and you're playing around still. Is there anything else you got in the works or anything you want to mention?
The only thing coming up on the horizon is the Mojo Skid reunion. And there may be some, if we do it once, and there'll be a clamor to do a couple more. And I don't know if we'll go on a tour or maybe just play a few places, Up there in Minneapolis, up at the First Avenue, at the 7th Street entry, that's one of the places we played a bazillion times.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if Steve's still up there, if they've run him off yet. But he was one of our, favorite guys around the country. There was 5 or 10 promoters we played with 20 different times, and he was one of them.
Awesome. Well, maybe if you come back up this way and we can bring you maybe a copy of Buttcrack, you can autograph it for us.
Oh, yeah. It's a sad motherfucker walking around with Buttcrack.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's me, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what makes sure we understood who's who,
Well, awesome. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, dudes. No problem, man.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks so much.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Bye.